welcome to the Straight Red Card. We're back, and of course there was that wonderful game that we just watched here recently between Honduras and the United States, where the U.S. fell 2-1 after leading originally 1-0. And you know, a lot of people out there talking about this for obvious reasons, Brett. And you know, the big thing is, do we panic? You know, yet. I mean, the answer is no. I mean, you don't have to panic. I'm not panicking. I'm just saying, as we said in prior shows, this is going to be a difficult hex. And starting out with 0 points on an away game in Honduras is not a good start.
Well, it's a difficult hex, like you said. Do we panic that we dropped points away at Honduras? No, we shouldn't. We shouldn't be panicking about that. And you know, it's just something you have to deal with. Away matches are never simple. That was a match that we could have won. It was very winnable. It really was.
Right.
But we played a very piss-poor game. I'm not sure what happened with our midfield. And then there's a miscommunication. We got an entire backline that's never played a hex match in their life.
Yeah.
You know, there's just too many variables mixed into it. And the great thing about it, in all honesty, was that, you know, everybody else tied.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we are technically 1 point behind everybody else outside of Honduras. And then, like I said, it's an away match.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to win many of them, but that was a very winnable match.
It was a winnable match. I think the proper word is not panic, although we saw a lot of panic out there. And fire Jurgen Klinsmann tomorrow. And I just think the proper word is concerned. I'm concerned because, once again, Jurgen Klinsmann was outmanaged, and his adjustments to being down or being tied, bringing in Zusi, bringing in Klesch, his adjustments didn't make any sense to me at all. I'm not even sure the starting lineup made that much sense to me. Starting EJ as a winger is okay. I wasn't, terribly concerned about that. But my concern going down the road is Jurgen Klinsmann's inability to adjust to what's in front of him and put in the right guys and use the right formation to win the game. I didn't see that. Again, I saw what I've seen before from Jurgen Klinsmann. Improper substitutions, improper use of formation, improper use of tactics. I mean, whatever happened to getting the ball out wide and crossing it in? Is there a rule now that we're not allowed to do that? I mean, we used to do that exclusively. That's what we did. Worked it down the wing, crossed it in, somebody get their head on it, put it in the box, accidents happen, goals happen. I mean, is there a rule now for this United States men's team that is not allowed? I mean, we saw so few crosses. It's really disappointing.
Yeah, I think the big thing to be concerned about is that we've seen this from the beginning of Klinsmann's tenure with the United States.
Yeah.
It hasn't improved. There are going to be some games where the U.S. looked amazing and we pulled out amazing results, but ultimately the performances from our team has not improved since Klinsmann's taken over. You know, whether or not that's just a factor as Klinsmann trying to change the entire the setup or whatever, but it's not progressing forward, I guess you could say. As far as the width is concerned, I've been preaching this from day one. Mm-hmm. We need to be able to have our width. Whether it's a 4-4-2, whether it's a 4-5-1, I don't really care.
I don't either.
We need in this roster that Klinsmann brought to Honduras, I would have, even though it would have been benching, Williams in the case, I guess you could say, or Andy EJ at that point. I would have rather have seen, say, Michael Bradley and a Jermaine Jones tandem in the middle with, say, Davis and Zusi out wide.
Mm-hmm.
Mind you, it's not going to be the best. They're not the best players on our roster to fill the starting 11, but they fit the role, that's the key right there.
They would fit the role if crossing the ball was the role, but it's not the role, and he's not interested in that. EJ can't cross a ball. Davis certainly can, but the thing is, Jurgen's not interested in that kind of soccer. He wants it to come down through the middle. He wants us to play very Barcelona type ball, lots of possession, kick it around a bit, no direct play whatsoever. And, that's why we see what I mean, and listen, Honduras did it better than we did. They did it better. They looked more skilled on the ball. I mean, some of those fakes were just amazing. They looked like a team that can play the Barca kind of style better than we can. So we're going down there trying to play the same kind of style that they're going to play, and they just did it better than we did. And guess what? Pretty much everybody else is going to do it better than us too, except for maybe Panama and Jamaica. So we better figure it out quick.
The funny thing is that everyone was talking about the U.S. Canada match. I mean, I know it's a Camp Cupcake match and all, but they kept talking about how the original setup was really emphasizing the crossing ability, and that it's going to be carried over into the Hex match. But
incorrect.
And then we saw something completely different. And whether or not you want to argue that Klinsmann came out with a more offensive approach, playing very, three defensive midfielders, but also three attacking-minded players as well. We just saw so many players played out of position. Yeah. And then on top of that, though, we can't blame it all on Klinsmann here. Our players played poorly. I mean, up and down, everybody. I mean, our Chandler and Fabian
Johnson,
felt like they played. It looked like they played with cement boots. It really did.
Yeah. Well, Johnson was had a little more action going on his legs than Chandler did. Chandler looked like he had just been on a 3-day subway trip, or you're right. He looked like Beckerman out there, which we're not expecting Chandler to look like he's wearing cement boots. They didn't really work the ball down the right side wing almost at all game long. Chandler just was not involved. They chose to for the most part, if they were going to do the wing play, they chose to go down the left with Fabian. And it almost paid off a couple times. Outside of, there's a little pass that could have been made to Josie that didn't, just miss Josie and ended up in Michael's, right at his feet, and he couldn't clear it out. But the whole point is here, even then, Fabian's not really crossing the ball. I mean, he's kind of dribbling the ball across the middle, and then getting inside the box, and then finally kind of releasing it. Would have been good if it was a goal. Wasn't. But, whatever happened to crossing? I mean, Chandler can cross a ball from the right. Johnson can cross a ball from the left. There's nothing wrong with crossing balls. I just don't understand what the problem is. And all right, so we're not going to cross it anymore because we just don't do that, because we're going to play Barca ball. And we're going to actually dribble the ball into the goal going down the middle. But the other thing we don't do anymore is counterattack. How many times did it look like, okay, we have an opportunity to press the issue here, and the guys would stop, turn around, and pass the ball back to Michael Bradley, and it looked like Michael wanted to keep pressing, but then it's just like nobody else was on the same page with him. And, so we don't do two things we used to do better than anybody else in CONCACAF now. We used to cross the ball and use our physicality in the box to get goals. And then we also used to counterattack and use our speed. And we don't have any more speed. There are no fast players on this team anymore, not like the kinds we used to have with Charlie Davies, obviously, and Landon Donovan, who could just, attack suddenly out of nowhere. Now, EJ's not slow. He's just, he's not a rocket. And Altidor's
He's not a winger.
He's not a winger. No, he's not.
That's the best way to describe it.
And he can't cross to save his life. So why he's playing winger, it was really, I'm sure, devised so he could almost be another forward up there, is really what you're looking at.
Yeah, and in all honesty, the formation way it was set up is set up as a 4-4-2, quote unquote. On the defense, I think EJ came back a decent amount of the game and pressured on the defense, but on the attack, we were very much a 4-3-3 with all three of our center midfielders pinching into the middle. And it looked like they were running on top of each other. Yeah. And I agree completely with you that what we're lacking here is the urgency to counter. We don't have we don't even need the pace that we used to have in the days. We just got to play with a bit of urgency and pushing the forward, getting the defense on their heels, opening up space for other players. I mean, you can still push the ball up into the defensive third or offensive third, and if it's not there, you can always look for, say, a Jermaine Jones or a Michael Bradley pinching into the middle looking for that ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we just don't have that urgency, and we don't have that fire, we don't have that bite that we used to have, and I don't know what happened to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, it just seems like everybody has been told, chill out, let's work it up the field, mostly up the middle of the field.
You know what happens when we chill out and we work it up the field is we allow the opposing defense to settle, regain form, and stop us from doing anything.
Right. You got to take advantage of numbers when you have it, or else they're going to get all, 9 guys out of 10 behind the ball, and that's what they do, and that's what everybody, by the way, is going to do against us. So, so that's what's concerning. The concerning part is, tactically, we are so mind-numbingly focused on playing this one type of soccer, which would be great if we had Lionel Messi on our team, but we don't. And while we have very talented players on our team, they're not being used in the right ways. I didn't mind having Williams in front of the front four and giving Bradley and Jones more freedom in the first half to roam around. I didn't even mind the lineup, actually. But I just thought, what a waste of Johnson and Chandler. What a waste. I mean, you don't even use their speed. You don't even use those guys. I mean, Johnson had just a couple opportunities down the left. Chandler, he was practically out of the game. They never used him at all. Maybe it was because he had cement. So if he has cement feet, take him out. Put somebody else in.
Yeah, and to be fair, I agree with you on this, is that I looking at the lineup, I was actually happy because I was seeing what could happen. You have the 3 central midfielders bossing the midfield, and then you have Chandler and Johnson running up, offering width. But that never happened. No. I don't know what happened. But like I said, our wingbacks just felt like they were playing with cement boots, and they really didn't offer much as far as pace. And pointing it out is, Chandler got beat quite a bit. Yeah, especially some of the trick moves. That one obvious one where he got nutmegged from behind. That was wicked.
Yeah,
But they were just getting played up and down the field, and it didn't look good. The formation, the lineup could work if everybody is playing up to their game, and that's one thing Klinsmann pointed out. We had too many people who were not playing up to their potential and making too many mistakes. That was the only problem with it. Like I said, I think that lineup, I think that roster, I think it could be fine. I think they could do well, but they can't make the mistakes that they made.
Well, then the other big controversy is starting Cameron and Gonzo together in the back. They'd never played together before, and listen, I'm not going to make a huge deal out of this because, as Lawless said after the game, Gonzo is the future of the United States men's national team. For the first game of the Hex, in an away game, I'm not going to throw Gonzo in there. I'm going to keep Bocanegra and Cameron together because they've already played numerous games together. They have a good rapport. What? Why screw with that? Why screw with that? And at least Bocanegra has experience playing with both Johnson and Chandler, and if they're having bad games, can kind of work things out with them. And then all right, Gonzo, to me, both Gonzo and Cameron on the first goal by Honduras stood around and did nothing. In the second one, I don't think Bocanegra stands around and watches while Howard and Cameron try to work out whether or not who's going to get the ball, who's going to clear it, or who's going to possess it. I think, Bocanegra is back there inside and is there in time to clear that ball as it dribbles across the middle of the field. So I'm not blaming Gonzo. I mean, it's his first game. I expect some mistakes. I just think those mistakes wouldn't have happened if Bocanegra was there. I guess I'm more pro Jimmy Conrad on that. Where Lawless said,
you watched that clip too.
I did. Yeah.
It's scary how much you and I agree on this.